All right, Shalom. I'm going to start up by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Kakadash. No bonus to my bishops, apostles, and elders of the great millstone who rule well, who have told me the truth. Shalom, salutations to the brothers out there, pushing the word, sincerity, the truth, delivering the message to the elect out there to run the race of salvation. And shalom to the elect, which consists of the men, women, and children that have the true, sincere faith, the true, sincere faith of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Also to the speckled birds, the ones that don't look like your average Negro, Latino, Native American, but the ones that have the ears of understanding we're all working towards to earn our wings of salvation, to flee the hour of temptation, Jacob's trouble, and ultimately to flee those thermonuclear missiles by the way of chariot salvation in these end times. I'm the brother of my father, the DC Church, and something I'm going to take from last night, I'm going to go ahead and grab it real quick, and we'll start from there in Luke, the 18th chapter, because as we were talking about how the calamity and the troublesomeness that's coming to this planet is going to be so catastrophic that your imagination really won't be able to fathom it. Only the Rakah Kodash will be able to keep you in a state of mind to where you won't bug or freak out due to the fact of all the bloodshed and all the famine, the crazy chaoticness that's coming, So we pray and we fast to keep our spirits grounded and rooted in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, praying and fasting to the best of our ability to constantly have a spirit that's always seeking Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, to sustain our spirit. So the word sustain, which means to hold up, man, hold us up in the end times. So that's why, Isaiah 33, it says the wisdom and knowledge shall be that stability. It's a big thing because, we understand that you can't unlearn certain things that you have did in life, but you have to replace it so you can have the Rakah Kodash give you more spiritual gifts, So that's why the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, man. Our weapons of our warfare are spiritual, because this is a spiritual fight. But this is Luke 18, verse 6. This says, and the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge said. And it says, and shall not the Most High avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on earth? Yeah, so are you going to be able to keep your faith when all this hell start to really break loose, and you suffering loss, and you seem like you've been forsaken? Are you going to be able to hang on to your faith, right? Because right now it's easy to say I'm gonna do it. It's easy to pray, and it's easy to fast right now. But there's going to be there's going to be no choice but to fast, because it's the Lord that's working things out. So you look at the biblical history of the Israelites and how the nation of Israel was in the wilderness for 40 years for their unbeliefs, to really try them to see what's in their heart. And that's getting ready to happen to the men of the Lord and women of the Lord, and also the children too, to see what's in their hearts. Because as these spirits start to intensify, the spirit of the Lord is going to intensify, right? So let me go ahead and go to this. Oh yeah. But this is second Ezra 16 verse 11. It says, the Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to be beaten to powder at his presence. The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also, before the Lord and before the glory of his power. Because look, shall a trumpet be blown in the city, right? And the people shall not be afraid. Hey, when the Lord really starts killing people and beating things, really tearing this place up, right? Because that's the presence of the Lord, because he said he killeth and he maketh alive. So as the elect is going to be preserved in these end times, man, these people are going to see, they're going to see that what we're being preserved. They're going to try to, do something about that, because you see time and time again, the men of the Lord had to escape, suffer had to escape persecution, or if they just had to suffer the persecution, and just hope in their faith that Yahweh Shem Yahushua will still be dealing with them, because everybody's going, we're in the flesh. Everybody's going to feel that, it feels like the Lord is not answering your prayers. You're going to feel a little forsaken, but then right at the last second where, you feel like, this thing, man, maybe the presence of the Lord has left me, he'll be right there to lift you up, and that's the beauty of the Lord. He comes when when he wants to give it to you, not when you want it, type deal. It says, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss. When they begin to be shot into the ends of the world, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that are sent be upon the earth shall not return again. It says, woe is me, who shall deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Right? Yeah. So what, basically, what is Jake gonna do? But I think it said it already. It's in the 20th verse. It says, behold, famine and plagues, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourge for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness. See, these people are going to get ahead and turn into their own heart. They're going to do what their own heart's desires, versus turning to the Lord. Like, so all these Christian goers, these Bible thumpers that believe in Jesus Christ, some of them are going to, turn to the elect and seek salvation and guidance, as the Lord permits it. But a lot of them, they're going to turn to their wickedness and try to use Christianity as a way of, seizing or basically getting the world back into control, But it's not, none of that stuff is going to fly, because the New World Order is not going to have, any denomination in there. It's basically you're going to have to worship what they want you to worship, which is, their technocracy. Basically trusting in the technocracy is basically where you have specialists like scientists, mathematicians, engineers, basically running the government, versus like politicians and public officials and things of that nature. So you're gonna have like AI judges. You're gonna have AI what's that called? A jury. It's gonna be an AI everything system. A type of deal. But right before he's about to fill his belly, the Lord is going to get ahead and strike him through. He won't be able to complete his task. It says, behold, victuals shall be showed cheap upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Even then shall evil grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Right? And that's the part to where people are going to be looking for this knowledge, this wisdom, this understanding, because they know this brings forth life, this brings forth peace. People are going to be in constant survival mode and just have that frantic mindset. That's not a way to live. Your body's constantly using electrolytes and minerals to run, due to the fact that you're always in the scarce, you're always in the scarce mindset. You're just in a survival mindset. You don't know when you're going to die. You're just stressing out all the time. A mindset like that, you won't make it, because you're going to make a poor decision sooner or later, to where you didn't make the right decision because you don't got a clear mind. Because all of these, it's like you can't turn off your mind from stop thinking about death. So that's how as the Spirit of the Lord starts to really visit this place, what the Spirit of the Lord has to be intensified as these evils intensify. Because he said he's going to avenge us speedily. It says, for many of them that dwell on earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, and the dead shall be cast out. Yeah, but that was the point, man. It's like when all of this stuff is going on, are you going to be able to keep the faith? So that's why I was reading this in the EMP, though. I ain't going to go grab it. I'm going to read it for you. So that's why we lean on our weapons. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, But this is 2 Corinthians 13 and 2 Corinthians 10 and 3 in the AMP. It says, for though we walk in the flesh as mortal men, we are not carrying on our spiritual warfare according to the flesh and using the weapons of man. So we don't want to gear up arms and then trust in those things and think to ourselves that that's going to be able to save us. That's negative, So that's why we always Psalms 55 and 22, cast our burdens upon the Lord. And like I said, you can't unlearn what you have been, have you taught yourself in this truth. Salakia, in this world, it's more so about replacing it. So when those negative thoughts come, to pray and cast it out and do the necessary things to overcome. Right? Verse 4, it says, the weapons of our warfare are not physical weapons of flesh and blood. Our weapons are divinely powerful for the destruction of fortresses. Yeah, man, because look, that's how just how the elder Pashai, he went into in Jericho. They just marched around Jericho and the walls fell. They was chanting, they was blowing the horn, and the walls fell. So that's how we're able to break up the minds of these people, right? Is with this word. And if it's not broken up, if the fallow grounds are not being broken up of the minds of certain individuals, that means they're gonna the Lord is basically closing them and blinding them to face their destruction. And you got some people that's willingly ignorant to the fact that they know we telling the truth, but this is like you're gonna be marked for the ones you're gonna be marked just like the ones that are unbelievers. Let me see if because I said it talked about the succors, and then I thought about people are not gonna they're gonna forget the succors, which is the help. Oh no, Salakia. It is wisdom. This is Wisdom of Solomon 17 verse I'll start at 11. It says, for wickedness condemned by her own witness is very tumorous, and being pressed with conscience, always forecasting grievous things. Yeah, man, because look, that's what wickedness does. It's just going to conjure up some more wickedness. So that's why you got to replace it with righteousness, because that's the only thing that's going to make it's going to bring health and comfort to your soul, your spirit. It says, for fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors which reasoneth offereth. So what if you betray? So only you get fear from the betraying of the help that comes from heaven. In verse 13 it says, and the exception from within being less counteth the ignorant more than the cause which bringeth the torment. Yeah, man. Because look, when you're ignorant, which ignorant means to not know, right? When you basically are just focusing on more of the lesser part, then that's what is going to bring torment to your mind. You see these people, man, they don't trust in spiritual work. They don't really truly do, because they're going to go right back to that default setting. So that's why we know we have to constantly work on our default settings as far as what do you do when things happen. So you could it's like automatic, it just naturally goes into that gear to where you got to switch to that spiritual gear and cast your burdens upon the Lord. as it get crazy out here, man. You already see people are crazy. Gas prices is going up, and they come quickly to complain about it. So when Esau throws the EMP blast out, or he turns the internet off, basically people are going to be bugging out. And then everybody's them keyboard warriors, and it's just going to turn into a chaos. It's going to be just turned into all types of chaos. Everybody taking they're basically taking judgment or justice into their own hands. Getting ready to come to this place, man. So we can keep the faith, stay strong, pray, keep praying and fasting. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Kakwadash, double honors to my bishops, apostles, and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations to brothers out there pushing the word and truth and sincerity. Shalom to the elect out there. Shalom.